Amazing. Let me check my focus. I think it's good now. Yes. Okay, perfect. Welcome again to another session of Azure Zero to Hero, Microsoft Learn. Thank you so much that you join us this Saturday again. And we're really happy to have you in this Saturday again. So this is Said Dol. Today with me, Hamid Sadegpour Saleh, the other community leader, is here. So hope we can have another great session as we had before. Today, actually, we have a great guest. He's one of my best friends here with full of knowledge and experience. So no doubt that we will have a great session. So let's start with learning a bit more about Microsoft Learn. So Microsoft Learn is the richest place that you can find specific content, not only for technical side, but also soft skills. So you are able to be connect to other experts, and also you are able to share your knowledge with the rest of community and rooms. So basically, it's not only about Azure. You can find the other rooms there regarding the different services and solutions. And you have this opportunity to ask your questions, your technical questions. And we are so happy if you can join there. And we encourage you to be part of these communities and also different rooms. So what you can learn there, it's all about, for example, latest updates, and we can have a really friendly conversation regarding Azure technology solutions and so on in different rooms. And Azure Zero to Hero is one of those Microsoft Learning Room that we can be together and share our knowledge there. If you want to find Microsoft Learn rooms, please check the link that you can see in the screen, aka.ms/Microsoft Learn community. And also, if you search in Google Microsoft Learn community directory, you can find a lot of Microsoft Learn rooms there, and you can easily join there and enjoy the contents. One of important things that we would like to share with you, it's about Microsoft Learn Cloud Skill Challenges. So basically, we are going to start a new AI challenge. Make sure that you register and start the challenges. As you can see, you can earn a discount of Microsoft exams, and we are really encourage you to be part of this challenge. Share about Microsoft Learn, share about your challenges that you pass, and also it would be perfect if you use the hashtags and also mention us Microsoft Learn, mention Microsoft Learn, and it would be perfect to share these things with rest of your social media. And one more things. It's our code of conduct. So we expected you to be aware of others, be friendly and patient, be very calm and respectful, be open to all questions and viewpoints, be understanding of differences, and also be kind of considerate to others. Before I hand it over to Nikos, I would like to mention, please ask your great questions. And at the end of the session, Nikos will choose the best question, and we will give out a 50% discount of Microsoft fundamental exams. So you can use that for your next exam to be able to pass it easily. So thank you so much. I hand it over to Nikos. Nikos, please. We cannot wait to hear the content that you are going to share with us.
Thank you, Said. Thank you. Can you hear me well?
I just stopped my sharing. Yeah, the stage is yours, man.
Thank you. And can you see my screen and hear me well?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Said, and thanks for the kind words. And let's get it started. Well, today, I believe I'm the last session of the day. Is that true?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Then I will tell you a story, and feel free to sit relaxed and comfortable and enjoy this session. Now, it is going to be a little bit technical, and I am going to show you some code, but I promise you a quite fun story. And now, as all fun stories, it is a real one, actually. But I have taken out a few details to protect some people and to not expose the case itself. And it has had its up and downs. So let's say that I have altered the reality a little bit, but it is still based on a true story. So the session is called, they challenged me to create a stable Azure solution using only the cheapest tiers. And before getting into the story, a few words about myself. My name is Nikos Delis. I work as a senior cloud engineer and cloud evangelist at Halo, a company based out of Gothenburg, Sweden, and we have an office in Malmö as well, where I live. I have been working since maybe 2012, 13, something like that. I started as a .NET developer. I continued with architect roles, and the last 5, 6 years I have been focusing on Microsoft Azure. Now I know the importance of being certified. It helps a lot with the projects, but not only to build a nice CV, but also to learn a lot of things. Because when you're preparing for the exam, you have to study a lot, and then while you study, you learn so much new things. So I think it's a great opportunity for everyone to grab this 50% discount on the fundamentals exam. Now, I also have a blog. It's called ndtechnique.com, and there I write about my experiences with various Azure resources and pretty much everything that I don't consider to be common knowledge. I also have a podcast. It's called Azure Triumphs, stories of people who succeed with Azure. And there I talk with people who have a very interesting experiences with Microsoft Azure, and they could either be experts or Microsoft MVPs or Microsoft employees or even other people. And so Said and Hamid, by the way, I would really love to have you sometime as guests in my podcast. Let's talk about that later. And then last but not least, a few weeks ago, I had the honor to become a member of the Azure Skåne Community Organizers Group. So together with the other organizers, we organize meetups around once a month, something like that, in a place in Malmö. And you may find us at meetup.com /Azure Skåne. Now, the URL might be a little bit different, but if you Google meetup.com Azure Skåne, you will definitely find us. Now, getting into the story, it all started when I got hired. And not hired at the company, that was my employer, but hired into the contractor, into the company that gave me the contract as an assignment. So it all started when I got an architect role on a company that wanted me to help them with their Azure solution. And they had some issues with that. So they had been clients of the company I worked for quite a while, like a few years. They had, I think I was the fifth architect. So for some reason, people were joining them, staying there for a year and then leaving, or less than a year in some cases. So I am normally the guy they call when the shit hits the fan. So not that I'm better than someone else, but I have quite a lot of patience, and I like to handle situations that are more or less difficult in some ways. So in Greek, I missed to mention that I'm born and raised in Greece. So yeah, I'm Greek and I do speak Greek as well. So we have a saying called "Η καλή μέρα από το πρωί φαίνεται." And this translates to, you will know already from the morning if it's going to be a good day. And this relates a lot with my experience with that client, because the very morning when we visited in their premises, I went there in my good clothes and with my sales guy with me, and shook hands with the CTO of the company. And I was very eager to speak with him about how I wanted to expand the team and how I want to invest a lot in that solution, and how I felt that they are a very prominent client for us. So before me having the time to say all those nice things, I just introduced myself, and then he said, yeah, hi, welcome. Well, so that you know, we're about to descale, to scale down the team and to close down the project. To which my reaction, of course, was, why always me? Why do always I have to have this kind of projects, like the one that I get in a very positive manner and happy to do very nice things, and then suddenly before I even join, they have decided to close down the shop. So of course this is not an optimal situation, but I thought that with my soft skills, maybe I will be able to do something. So um, uh, the soft skills I'm talking about are pretty much those five. So the first one and the most important is to build trust. Now, when you have to build a solution using the cheapest tiers, it means that you won't have technology on your side. So you are going you get what you pay for, and in case of Azure this counts a lot. So you don't get trustworthy tools. So how do you build trust with non-trustworthy tools? Well, you can't do it if you underpromise and overdeliver, meaning that if I get a question about a resource which I know very well about, such as Azure Functions, a very basic one, and then I would never answer boasting and say, yeah, of course you can do that with Azure Functions. Of course, everything is possible. Of course, you will get low latencies and high performance. No, I would say that I think it could be done, but let me check. Of course, in my mind, I already know that it can be done, that I already know that this will work. Then the over deliver part comes down to the fact that I try to always deliver a little bit more than what they originally asked for. Then being humble is a virtue that I really value high, and in that particular case, being the fifth architect, I knew that not all the four previous one can be wrong. It's not always their mistake, and of course the client can be wrong all the four times either. So it must be something else. So be humble and listen a lot, and let's see what the problems were. Then I mentioned the cheapest tiers, and money do play an important role in this specific project, but what everything is about actually is not always money, it's most what money brings. So they were eager to pay, or they were eager to invest, but they weren't eager to waste money. And this is quite respectable, I think. Last but not least, as an architect, you can have all the solutions in your mind directly. And in Azure and in cloud in general, you can do the same thing in 5 different ways. So how do you know which way is the correct in each scenario? Well, you have to try. There's no secret recipe. You just have to try. On the other hand, they don't pay you to try things. They pay you for your expertise. They pay you for your knowledge. So, of course, it is okay to do some proof of concepts and to do some trials, but they have to be sophisticated and you have to fail fast. You can't spend all the time to design a solution and then to implement the solution just to find out that it won't work. You have to make a small proof of concept, see if it could be a possible solution, and then move on. And with that, I will also move on to the very data flow. So this is the wow cow data flow, as I like to call it jokingly. Now, I remind you that this is based on a true story, but what you see is actually a parallelism. So it doesn't really have to do with a dairy producer. The client did something completely different, but I think that the flow is quite similar. So I made I made up a story there to make it look exactly like the real one. So on the left of the happy cow that we have here, we have the wow cow dairy producer, and let's say that is an like any dairy producer you know about, like they produce milk and cheese and butter and yogurt and all those dairy products, and they send those with red trucks or other colorful trucks to supermarkets where the people can buy those products. And Let's say that this happens early in the morning, and then the clients come and they buy their things, and then when the shop will close, they are going to count what's left, what they managed to sell, what they didn't manage to sell, maybe the expiry dates or something to return those that are about to expire, and they're going to order new ones for the next day or for the next days. So the workers of the supermarkets are going to send their orders through Azure to the dairy producer. And then inside Azure, they had the invoicing pretty much automated, deriving from the orders that are incoming and what is produced and sold. The dairy producer invoice the customers. So I mean, the data flow is not that sophisticated. Someone has to order something, the other party has to deliver something, and then all this has to happen as seamlessly as possible. And I mean, it's quite straightforward. So I had kind of hard to understand what the issues were and why they were complaining so much. So I sat down with the project leader, with my counterpart on the client side, and I asked him, "What's wrong?" And then I saw him frowning and getting sad, and like the color leaving his face. And he was like, what isn't wrong? Like the logs are fuzzy. I mean, there are logs, but there's lots of them. We can't understand what's really happening. And then we have orders disappearing. We have clients calling us and telling us that they ordered totally different things than the ones that we delivered to them. The user experience is a calamity. The sellers have to wait for many minutes before they get a response that their order is processed. And then, since they don't want to wait a lot of minutes, they just want to make the order and go home. And now keep in mind that this is the last moment of their workflow. They are done after a day of work and they're just going to put the orders and then go home. That's it. So this happens late in the night or late in the afternoon. It happens when the shops are closing. And then since we get so many mistakes, we have, and by me I mean by we I mean the workers of the dairy producer, we have to double check everything because we get some duplicate orders, we get some incomplete orders, and this means that we can't invoice them if we don't have all the data we need, which leads to late invoicing. And this is a big problem because the supermarkets are very eager on getting their invoices on time because they have their budgets, they want to know what they pay for and stuff like that. But also the dairy producer wants to get their money on time. They have other expenses. But if they had to recognize one single issue that was the biggest one, that would be that nothing seems to work during rush hours. And which are the rush hours? It's the hours where the most supermarkets and the biggest supermarkets close down. Like, let's say it's 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. or something like that. So from that time and like 15 minutes before that and 45 minutes after that, this very hour is like nothing works. Okay, okay, I hear you. So let's see the architecture. And the architecture is something like that. And please keep in mind that this is the distilled version of the architecture. So I have removed most of the things that were there, and I have only left the most problematic ones. But let's take it from the beginning. We have the green box on the left side, and there we have the supermarket and the workers and the user portal, which the front-end team, another company, is building and providing to our dairy producer. And they send their orders to Azure, the blue box here. And the first thing that the orders meet is an API management instance. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with API management, but like to make a long story short, let's say that it is an API wrapper. It is a very powerful Azure resource that is used quite heavily, I would say, especially for solutions like that. And it has the possibility to perform authentication, to make sure that the requests, incoming requests, look as they are supposed to look, and that the responses that we give them also have certain headers and certain body and stuff like that. Now, the API management is then channeling forward traffic to various logic apps. Those are logic apps, all those. And then it was very complicated. And to be honest, it's still a bit foggy and a bit dark in my mind what exactly they were doing. But they were talking with each other. They were talking with Azure Functions. They were talking with the Azure Data Factory, which we have here. And then they were performing actions like getting customer data, or they were saving data in a storage account. Then we also have an application insights instance, of course, which is used to get all the logs, but every function logged in its own way in some kind. And then, of course, we also had the Azure Data Factory, and this is also an interesting solution. It is a natural resource that is used to have some data inputs, so data in and data out. And of course, it can process it, it can format it, it can do many different things, and you don't have to know how to code. So I would call Azure Data Factory as a low-code solution as well. And then what happened after Data Factory is that all this data was sent to the purple box, which is their data center, because the dairy company has been around in a while, many years. And they had their own data center with some databases and the CRM system and also a file system. So all this data was being sent to the on-premises systems. Now, I know what you think. I know what you think that you're seeing. You think you're seeing a dumpster fire. And I could agree with you, but let's not like make it so serious. Let's see where it burns. And it burns there and 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 there. And we have money flying away, and we have customers being very annoyed and angry, and them having to wait for long times, which means that they had a very bad user experience. Now, of course, this looks bad, okay? But if we start to identify the issues one after another, then we have that the logic apps, those have connectors to speak with each other and to speak with the other resources. And those connectors have certain limitations. As for example, this one, this logic app, and touching to the Azure Data Factory, it can only handle 100 requests per minute, which means that the first 100 requests, and this might happen in the first 10 seconds of a minute, will go through like immediately, like very fast. But then you will have to wait 50 more seconds before you can handle one more request. And then keep in mind that they were reusing the connectors, meaning that the pizza rule applies. So when you share your pizza, it's less pizza for you. And where you share your connector, it's less connector for you. So those 100 requests weren't even 100. It were as many as your logic app has time to consume before the other logic app takes the rest of it. Then we had the cheapest tiers and everything. And why is that? Well, apparently somebody told them that Azure is free. Yeah, it's not free, but somebody told them that. And now let's say that they believe that using the cheapest tiers, their traffic is enough to still be in the free tiers of most services. And there is some basis in that, but let's be serious. Like for production reasons, you can't use the cheapest tiers, and you can't expect everything to be for free. Then what really caused this awful user experience that the sellers were experiencing, it was that the API management outbound, meaning that the response part had to wait for the backend to conclude. So it had to wait for the whole cycle, for the whole architecture to be done before it gave the response. So in some cases, It might take like 5 seconds, it might take 15 seconds, and it might take 3 minutes. And I remember that I had seen that they had configured all the connection timeouts to -1, meaning to limitless. But then, of course, you have like the HTTP protocol timeouts and all those stuff. So it's not really limitless. And then you have people and you have non-technical people, and when they see like a spinning roll going on and on for 30 seconds, and of course they will reload the page, redo the order, resend it, and this will end in a duplicate and stuff like that. Then we also had a lot of unnecessary database interactions. Like if you're getting customer data, if you're getting addresses and customer names and stuff like that, how often do these things change? Well, certainly not every second. So there was a lot of database interaction based on data that were never changing. And then since we are in the cheapest tiers, we have limited to no scale options. When you have Azure Functions in the consumption tier, then you cannot scale them based on time, because you know when the rush hour comes, you know when all the clients are going to send their orders. You could actually time schedule your scaling. Now, having being on consumption tier means you can do that. And then the low-code stuff, it didn't really work. It wasn't really designed for this volume of data. And you see the common denominator of this whole project. Everything is a mistake of the logic apps. We can blame them for everything. So the solution is simple, right? Let's just kill the logic apps, kill them, and replace them with what? Well, with Azure Functions. Oh, and one more thing. The front-end team found a solution. So one day the project leader comes to me and say, "Oh, just so you know, I don't know if it affects your work somehow, but the front team are going to make a change, and they made sure that they use the same endpoints. So in their mind, this wouldn't affect the backend. But their solution is to, instead of sending one order with X number of items, they would send one order with a single item. So imagine that the large supermarkets were sending orders with 50 items, like this kind of milk and this kind of milk and this kind of yogurt and this kind of butter. Now with the new way of them sending orders, this would mean that when I had 3 orders, I would have 120. So now 40 is like the approximately median, like the around 40 items per orders is what we had. So from 2,000 orders per day, we went to 80,000 smaller, of course, orders per day. Now, what this smaller means? It means that the order body is in JSON, so nothing weird there. We get from like a request of 8 kilobytes, it might went down to 7 kilobytes or something, which like it means it's nothing. It was nothing even before. The request size was never the problem. It was the number of the requests that were the problem, and they just made this number times 40. And of course, my reaction was, "What are you doing? Why do you do that? Can you undo that?" And they said, "No, well, we can't, because we have been working for that for 3-4 months." So they did like 10 sprints or something with that in agile terms. And now this is going to ship next Monday. So yeah, maybe we felt that you should know about it. And like, yeah, thank you for telling me. Now, okay, let's see. Where can we start? What do we do first? So we need to take a very angry client with a system that hardly works, and that system is going to be much, much worse if we don't something soon enough. So how do we change the situation? So first thing first, we take the things that demand a low effort, but they can give high impact. So first of all, let's fix the logs. Let's bring them awareness. So this was the first thing I did, and I will explain you a little bit later how it was done. Then, to fix the user experience, In my eyes, the solution wouldn't be to do multiple orders, and the solution would be to make one order, but just don't wait for the whole cycle. They don't have to know that everything went really through. If we apply the separation of concerns and the single responsibility rules, then their only responsibility is to send in a complete order. They have to fill all the right fields with valid values. They have to provide all the data we need. And if everything is correct, then yeah, they're done. They can go home. So why make them wait for the whole machinery to move and to be done? Then after that, I felt that we have somehow to untangle and simplify the process. Even the technical people at the client side should be able to understand what's happening, and this goes hand in hand with bringing awareness. So having such complicated solution with so many resources talking to one another and this whole labyrinth of processes, it's not viable. Nobody likes it. So if we could untangle it somehow, I felt that it would help. And removing the low-code solution, I felt also it was time that we did it because they never really helped with anything. Of course, you can create them very, very fast, and you can show to the client very quickly that you managed to create integrations, but they didn't really work for this particular case. And then to eliminate the useless database interaction, we definitely should start caching things. And I will explain you in a little while. So if we take first thing first with the user experience. So this was my proposed architecture and the one that we ended up implementing, and as far as I know, they still use today. So of course there is more here after orchestration, but let's say that this is the entrance. Those are the first things that happen. So we have the workers here sending orders to API management. Now these can handle all the volume in the world. Even the 40 times more volume is no problem for API management. Now what happens is that this one is sending the order to an Azure function, which is the starter function of durable orchestration. And more about that in a small minute. So its reason of existence is to validate that the order is valid, to see that everything is there. If not, then just tell them no directly and they can fix and send again. And then after validating, the second role it had was to kick off the orchestration. And after the orchestration was kicked off, then the job was done. You could tell the client that you can go home, you did everything correctly, we take it up from now on. So, of course, we don't tell them that now the order is processed, but we're telling them that the order you sent in looks nice, we have everything we need, we are now going to start processing it. And this happens in the night and they don't care before next day. So why have them waiting? So this was the first thing that changed the user experience vastly. Now what happens after the orchestration has started? Well, we have to do a few more things. Now, again, I don't really reveal all the details, and there's more functions and more stuff going on, but I will just show you the important ones. So the orchestration, now the orchestrator function is a very important one, maybe the most important one in durable functions. And its role is to call all the activity functions and make sure that they do what they should do or to do something with them and to keep track of everything happening. So the first function is going to be used to gather data, to ask the database or ask someone else and to get all the customer information we need. Then if that one succeeds, then we can send all this data to service bus. And I hope that you are all aware of service bus. If not, very, very quickly, service bus is one of Microsoft Azure's oldest resources. It is a message broker and it is used to decouple workloads. So If we send from this function to this function directly, then we would be dependent on that function being up and running. Using a man in the middle, using a message broker, we can send the messages, and then those functions can go and pick those messages when they want. And when they want could be like in the middle of the night, or on some other point, or maybe directly. But we don't really care where. We just have to send a message, and then it's up to the functions to pick them. So, step one, gather data. Step two, send everything to the service bus to make sure that everything will go to the on-premises systems. And step three, create the invoices. So you see the chain between those, and it's not just for cosmetical reasons. I put it there to show you that those functions are executed in a way called function chaining, meaning that to get to function number 2, the function 1 must succeed. And to get to function number 3, then function 2 must succeed. And if that fails for some reason, then the whole orchestration stops. Okay, so this is the architecture that is quite simple to understand, in my opinion. It's not very, very complex, but it still does quite a lot of stuff. So going back to awareness, just one second. One of the biggest problems were that they were losing control of the orders. And when the clients called them, asking them questions about their orders, then they wouldn't know what to say to them because nobody could find anything in application insights. Now, if you code in the right way, then application insights can be a really powerful tool. So when you write your C# code, if you use the iLogger and everything is configured correctly, then you can use those custom properties, as they're called. So you can put it in a scope, or you can put it in a message just like that. And then what will happen is that you will be able to use this custom prop. Now observe that I have custom prop order ID here, and I can use it as a filter up there in my application insights. And not only that, but I also have this nice IntelliSense offering me all the various variables. So as I start typing the order number, the results here will get fewer and fewer until I have only my order left. And then I pick that I will only want to see the logs that have to do with this very order, not all the others. And then if you use this methodology in all activity functions, then the results will appear bundled together. Now, as you can see, here I have logs coming from 4 different functions. This one comes from the starter function, this one comes from the orchestrator, and then we have all those activity functions as well. And we can see all of those in one very consolidated view. We can understand what has been done, what hasn't been done. If we had any exceptions, they would show up here. So, of course, mistakes can still happen, but we have control over them. Now, of course, this is no rocket science, but I know that many people struggle a lot with logging. I call this one logom logging, and logom in Swedish it's a very Swedish word, and it means not much, not little, just perfect. So this is my take on logging. Then I asked them, okay, now that we have this nice architecture, can you please allow me to use a little bit more expensive tiers? Like for the Azure functions, can I use a B2? And this would give me like no cold starts, and we would know how much it will cost because we only pay for the app service plan, and then I could put all my functions there, and we could do a lot for very little money. But when they compare little money with no money, of course they will go to no money at all. And then I also asked them very, very kindly, can I please use the premium tier for the service bus because I really like the low latency it offers. And they really need the high availability. The standard tier on the service bus It might have some latency sometimes, and you can't really say that it is 100% available. You have to count with some unavailability. And they said no to that as well, because, but okay, in all fairness, the premium tier of the service bus costs $700 a month, while the standard tiers costs $7 a month, so it's 100 times more. But being made to use the cheapest tiers made some weak links in my solution. And yet again, there were more, but those are the important ones. So if we start from the beginning, as I said, API management, it can handle all the volume in the world, no problems there. So you can bomb it as much as you want, it will be able to respond on everything. But API management has to send the requests to this Azure function, which has an HTTP trigger. It's not a weird one. And this one can actually be exhausted on consumption tier. It can say, no, that's enough. I can't take any more. You have to let me finish. And then later on, we have this one that is talking way too much. It's called the chatty function. It chats a lot with the SQL database. And then even that one, this function, it has to count with some unavailability. Sometimes it won't be able to send the messages to service bus. So how do we solve these things? Now, lower your expectations because the solution is very simple, yet elegant. So for the first part, just put some retry logic. If it fails, if it has quite a lot to do, then wait a little bit and try again. So in this particular case, you will retry 5 times. The first time you will wait 3 seconds and and then you will increase the waiting time 3 seconds in every try. So you start with 3 seconds, first to fail, then 3 seconds, 6 seconds, 9, 12, 15. So you wait more and more to give it time to breathe, to give it time to be done. And in my experience, it was enough with 5 tries. And we also have a maximum wait interval of 15 seconds. So these 5 tries and 15 seconds, there is no rule there. It was trial and error. We tried multiple scenarios and stress tests, and we found like the soft point a bit lower than that. So we gave it some air to breathe, and we landed there. For the next one, the Azure function having to send the message to the service bus. And as I said, you have to count with some unavailability. Again, just try again. If it fails, try again. Just this time, sometimes we had to count to retry many times. So it was up to 15, 16. So we put the limit to 20. And then we started with waiting 5 seconds. Then between each retry, we increase the wait time by 3 seconds until the wait time becomes 1 minute. So let's say that we wait a little bit less than 20 minutes. And now this is the power of durable functions. Normal functions have a hard timeout of 1 minute, or you can put it to configure to 5 or something, I think. But in durable functions, the orchestration has no such limitation. So it will rerun forever if it has to. It will rerun, re-execute this one until it is done. So again, a little bit of code, no low-code solution. We had to write some code, but this gave us this very stable solution. And then the last thing, let's cache some things. And to me, it sounds absurd that you have to run to the database for data that never changes. So some customer details, some company details, we know as a fact that they never change, or that they very seldom change. So what we do every time we need to get some like data like that can be cached, we try to get it from Redis, and Redis is a cache memory. We try to get it from there. If we don't have it there, no problem. Then let's ask the database, the SQL service. Let's get data, put it to Redis, set value. Well, we did a get value there. So set value here, so that in the next iteration, the next time that we will need the same data for the same customer, we won't have to get into the database. And then, of course, we continue with the rest of the algorithm. Now, the result of this architecture, 2.5 million process requests per month. I know that this is no crazy number, and I know that Azure can handle like 100,000 times this volume with no problem at all. But for that budget we had, I am quite proud of what we did. Then 1 million brokered messages per month, 150,000 cache hits per month. And I'm particularly proud about this one because it was a solution that took like an hour to implement. And it 150,000 times we didn't speak to the database. So that's big for me. Then 5,000 crowns per month, a little bit less than that actually, even with the worst month, is what I had to pay. And it is way less than what they paid previously. Then 0 lost orders, 0 missed invoices, and almost 0 negativity, and 0-ish manual interventions. As said, mistakes can still happen. Sometimes machines are built by people and people do mistakes. So of course they could, but you will also see that customers are way more forgiving when things mostly work. Now from this very interesting project, I learned a lot of lessons, both technical and non-technical. Starting with the technical ones. I didn't know that the logic app used connectors. I didn't know that, to be honest, and I didn't know that those connectors had limitation. It's buried somewhere in the documentation, and they can really kill your solution. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. And the connectors are limited, and the limits are not that impossible to reach. The durable functions, they were definitely the star of the project. They made all the things possible, but their default values can be a little bit too high, meaning that the solution will scale more than what you want. And in some other cases, they can be a little bit too low. So you might have to play with them a little bit. Then Redis, the cache thingy, it is a lifesaver for me. Now, it is open source, so you can run it for free. If you want, you can run a web app and install Redis there and use it by there. But since you have the cheapest tiers, it will give you some unavailability itself also. So you just know the problem. So there is managed Redis, which you can get off with it very, very cheap. And it is a real lifesaver. So the Azure Managed Redis is a very nice one. Take a look at it when you get the chance. Then low code definitely means high maintenance. I have seen that many, many times. I'm not saying that people shouldn't use them, of course. And definitely if you don't have the possibility or if you don't want to manage code, then low code is perfect. And last but not least, you really need to exhaust the app service plans because you pay for them. Now, I know that many people deploy their functions in individual app service plans. And the thing that you win then is that when you have to redeploy and restart or rehydrate your app service plan, it would restart the other as well. But if you don't mind about that, then just put as much as you can in the app service plan. And then the non-technical lessons learned. They asked me to create a stable solution. They never said that it has to be unbreakable. And they were used to handling like every single order had some kind of mistakes. Now we went to almost 0 of them. So it doesn't matter if you don't cover 100% of the bases, as long as you handle 99% of the bases in some cases. So keep that in mind and don't overkill things. Then you can test all you want, but it's not a school. They don't pay you to learn things. They pay you to apply your knowledge. And for that particular scenario, I tested the container apps, I tested the Kubernetes solution, but I tested them for a day. I didn't implement the whole solution just to find out that it wouldn't work. And then, of course, it's all about money. I'm not going to decline that, but they have no problem investing money. They have a big problem wasting money. So what they're going to see is a return of investment. They're going to see that, of course, they bought something for some money, but what they got back is definitely worth that. And then being honest and owning your mistakes will help you build trust. They will know that you're not there to cheat them, you're not there to sell them things, you're just there to help them. And being honest and being able to say, sorry guys, I thought that this would work that way. I thought that it would take 2 weeks, apparently it would take 3 weeks. I mean, nobody has a problem with that, but you have to be honest so that they will know what to expect. Last but not least, awareness creates confidence. When they see what Azure can do, when they see that application insight is not some kind of a bad system, but you have to use it the right way, then they will start trusting the systems and they will end up trusting you. And with that, I would like to thank you for attending my session. I'm ready to take your questions.
Perfect, Nikos. Was so good, to be honest,
Oh,
because I faced some of these issues before, and I realized that I went through those sections and kind of troubleshoots, and it really makes sense to me how we can go through this troubleshoot process. And one of the important part that you mentioned is all about ROI. It's not all about money. And I think
exactly.
it's really important to understand that part. But
Mm.
yeah, thank you so much. It was really great.
That
Thanks.
was
Thanks.
amazing.
Thank you, Amit. I hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Especially
Actually,
that part with retrying the script. I had the same experience. We're using Python in that part with functions, but I learned some tips here from you, Nikos. That was good
Well,
to
thank
know.
you. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a simple thing, but why does it have to be not simple? Why does it have to be complicated? And then I'm also a big advocate. I love Azure. I mean, everybody who knows me knows that, but it's not a silver bullet, and cloud is not always the solution. Sometimes you have to use on premises, so just use on premises. It's not a bad thing.
Right, exactly.
that's true. That's true. Actually,
I
we
think.
have a question from Sasan. He mentioned that it's all about the issue that actually you mentioned about that. He said the main question is what is it
I can say
wasn't
it.
it?
I can say it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you can read it. Okay.
Yeah, my main question is, wasn't it more a matter of bad microservice architecture than bad Azure solution architecture? Uh, you are very right, Sasan. I totally agree. It's never the technology the problem. It's the way we use it. So, of course, we can blame the client, and we can say that they didn't tell us that we would have to use this volume. But in my opinion, low-code solutions in integrations don't really work well because the integrations are unpredictable. And if things happen like that we suddenly got way more volume, then we have to redo the whole thing. If we used Azure Functions from the beginning, then we could just scale them, or we could replace them with something else using the same code base. With the microservices, with the logic apps, it didn't really flow. Yeah, but yeah, definitely, it was a bad microservice architecture, not a bad Azure solution one.
Perfect. Yeah, great answer.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions. Please shoot out your questions. We have two vouchers that waiting for you guys. Okay.
Thank you as
Yeah,
well.
I think one of those okay, no question, just say thank you for this. Thank you so
Thank you,
much. Yeah.
Ricardo. Thanks for attending and sacrificing your time. I really appreciate it. It means a
Yeah.
lot that you attend.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Okay, so I think one of those vouchers goes to Sasan, and we
Hmm?
have one more.
Yeah.
So we will do a kind of shuffle between the all of the audiences at the end of the
Mhm.
session, and we're trying to contact them to if we can send a voucher to them. Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Amazing. I want to pass AZ900. That's amazing. That's
Good
amazing.
luck.
Good news.
Definitely go for it.
Yeah, perfect. So
Mm.
since there is no more question,
We have
and
one
yes,
from Mikhail, and I guess it's about the presentation. And yeah, we will be uploading it to YouTube, and we'll be sharing it in the socials and channels.
Fantastic.
yeah. Ehsan asked if you don't mind, I can get that one left. What do you think, Hamid? Can we do that?
It's up to Nikos.
Go
Yeah,
for
it's
it.
up to
Yeah,
Nikos. It's a
definitely.
Nikos session.
Yeah.
Definitely. Of course. I like the boldness. So absolutely.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Okay, before we wrap up this session, first of all, follow Nico's podcast. It's really great and it's something that you need to listen to it. Okay, so
Thank
please, Nikos, share your podcast link and
will.
we can make sure that everyone can reach to it. And people, don't forget the Microsoft Learn AI Challenge. And please share our community, our social medias in your social media. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
great evening. Thanks for
Thanks,
having me.
Nikos.
Thank
Thanks.
you,
Have
Nikos.
a nice day.
Take care, guys. Bye.